Hi there, I'm Spicy Steve.
And I'm Tasty Trish.
And we're at Merit Kitchens in Vancouver, where the folks have kindly presented us with a wonderful display kitchen to do our show. And today we're going to be doing an Indonesian Nasi Goreng. That's one of the traditional ones, isn't it, Trish?
Yes, it is.
This is one that really basically is a Malay word. In Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, you'll find this dish. And Nasi Goreng means fried rice. So as many of us are familiar with Chinese fried rice, Indonesian fried rice and Malaysian fried rice are a little bit different. The Malay influence has chilies and has ketchup manis and it has lots of other little garnishes that make a scrumptious dish. So let's get started on what we have today. Trish, what do we need to put in first? Besides hot oil.
Yeah. The wok is nice and hot, and here we have sambal olek, onions, shallots basically, and garlic all made into a paste. Just put in a friendly blender and there you have it.
Okay, so you can use fresh chilies or you could use sambal olek, which is the chili paste. So pop that in. Okay. I've already preheated the wok. You want to have a hot wok so that you have things frying right away. You don't want to put cold oil in a cold wok. You want to basically heat your wok up like I did initially and add the basically cold oil to a hot wok once it started smoking, and then add your ingredients. So I'm going to kick that up a little bit so we get that frying away. So basically that's your onion and your chili paste that's cooking away. Let that cook for a little while and start to basically just almost brown. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add chicken to that next. But I want to show you something while we're waiting for this to cook. One thing we're going to add at the end of this dish is kropak, which is prawn crackers. And these are a lovely, crispy little treat that many of you may remember from the old days in a Chinese restaurant. They used to have little pink and green ones. Those are the Chinese version, but they are a knockoff on what you find in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, made by the Malay people, and they're made from prawn paste. Now, I have a friend, Wei Fong, in Malaysia. Her mom used to make these, and they're very laborious. They actually use fresh shrimp or prawns. They make a paste, and it's mixed with other ingredients. They're dried, literally in the sun, into these hard little cakes. Then you basically take these, and you can buy them in a lot of import stores now, pop them in boiling, not boiling, but hot oil, and they'll expand like a chip. Now, this size one actually makes a Spicy Steve size kropak, but that's a bit large, and that's a true Indonesian one, very thick, very prawn tasting. But you'll find others that are sort of wafer thin, that are very small, that will make more appropriate size ones for garnishing your dishes. So that's kropak, and you'll see that at the end of the dish here. Now, we basically have the chilies coming out, the shallots coming out, so we can add our chicken now. Now, Nasi Goreng, I've got to tell you about this. There's a lot of different recipes for Nasi Goreng around, and you'll find Canadian Dutch folks will make Nasi Goreng either from an instant dry pack or from scratch, because Indonesia used to be a Dutch colony, so this dish is actually taken to the hearts of many Dutchmen. But this is a traditional Indonesian version, and this actually, I got this recipe from it was the National Food Institute of Indonesia, where they got people from all across the country together to decide on what was the true Nasi Goreng, because it will vary from different parts of the country. And also, this dish is sort of the deluxe one, which is called istimewa. Is that how we say it?
Istimewa.
Istimewa, which means we're going to throw the extra garnishes on it. So you could make it with other things that you have at home. If you have leftover pork or leftover meat the night before from a roast, you could throw that in. You can basically make it with any leftovers that you have. I'm doing it my sort of traditional way, but don't think that you have to follow the recipe exactly. The key thing, though, is you do want to have the onions or shallots and the chili in here, and then, of course, the ketchup manis to finish off the dish. So once we have the chicken cooking away, let's just let that cook till the chicken is cooked through, and then we're going to add our prawns to it. Now, meanwhile, in this pan, we've got an egg frying away, and that's what we're going to use to finish off the dish. So make sure that's a non-stick pan. You don't want to get too overcooked, and maybe I should just cook that a little bit longer and then remind me to turn that off.
Right.
I think we can throw our prawns in now, Trish. This smells wonderful. Now, important thing we're going to add to this is leftover rice. This rice is being cooked. You can use last night's leftover rice or make a fresh batch earlier in the day and let it sit out. You don't want to be putting hot, fresh rice in it. It should be either room temperature rice that's been made a few hours earlier, or leftover. Leftover sometimes can be a little harder, but that can also be good for frying because it basically is coated with the sort of the gluten in the rice, and it's nice and sticky, a little harder to break up. But the sauce will also break this up as well. So this is basically just some long grain rice, a Chinese or a Thai long grain rice you can throw in there. I just want to cook this a little bit longer before we throw that in. Throw the rice in. Whoa. Break that up. Now, I see the rice is a little bit sticky because it's been sitting, but it's not hot rice, so it's not going to go all mushy on you. We want to break that up. And Trish, you can tell them about the magic ingredient.
And the magic ingredient is called ketchup manis. This will make the rice, gives it its dark color and its sweetness and a bit of saltiness, not too much on the sweetness. And we're going to put it in right now.
And it's basically a thick, sweet soy sauce that is common in that area of the world. Ketchup asin would be a salty soy sauce, more familiar to what we have here, more like the Chinese, but still thicker. And ketchup manis is the sweet version. As I mentioned, if it's not hot enough, you can always add a little bit more chili by serving it with some sambals. So next, basically, if you want to pass me that bowl, Trish, we're all ready to go. And again, if you have a nice high heat, that certainly makes it easier to cook this dish. Basically, scoop some out into a bowl like this. We're going to just place that on the platter. And then we have our Nasi Goreng. Trish is going to garnish that. And just to finish that dish off, we probably want a little bit of pepper, maybe a little touch more salt on the egg, and some deep-fried shallots that we have here. Just sprinkle those. Those could go on top or they could go underneath the egg, actually. And there you have it. Nasi Goreng, Indonesian fried rice, also known as
Nasi Goreng Istimewa.
From Merit Kitchens and Shaw TV, I'm Spicy Steve.
And I'm Tasty Trish.
For recipes and information on cooking classes, visit spicysteve.com.